This guy is nuts. Is he really making daily recordings of his possible divorce and releasing it as a podcast? They both cheated on each other. She's making six figures and still doesn't contribute to any joint endeavors financially. Why is she still with him? Why is he still with her? I can't wait for the next episode. This helped me be a better wife. So this is how men think. I hate my husband less now. I understand my wife more now. These are some of the listener comments to the Divorce Diaries podcast. All over the map, I know. These anonymous accounts of events should resonate with anyone that has been married, is married, or is preparing for marriage and helps couples avoid pitfalls as they might prepare for marriage. Entire seasons are released on Patreon weeks before anywhere else at Divorce Diaries Podcast Patreon page. Link in description. Now for today's episode.
Friends are really important. And as you go through your divorce journey, or you don't go through your divorce journey, or you are not even married, or you are just going through any of the many journeys in life, you want very much to have people in your corner that you think are friends. Just want to break the word down a little bit because we throw it around, I think, often, like almost like the word diet. You know, the word diet. It's like, hey, what diet are you on? And that can be used a lot of different ways, a lot of different times, in a lot of different spirits, but we all know that what you really need, if you are, let's just say, grossly overweight, you need a lifestyle change. And diet is a part of the lifestyle change that you need to make, but you need to make a lifestyle change. And when you tend to focus on a diet, you aren't necessarily focusing on maybe why do you stress eat? Do you have any mental triggers that causes you to do that? Are you educated on food? Do you understand the difference between whole foods and processed foods? You might have a perspective shaping that you need, and but I'm not sure. So it's just sorry, had another text from my mother because I'm not trying to multitask, but my mother and I are going through something right now, and not that we're going through something. It's just kind of in my therapeutic journey. I'm finally being honest with my mother about the fact why I'm not really spending time with her or seeing her. And I'm in a rough spot with her. And she's trying to request that I be the bigger person with my sister. And I totally understand it. I have historically been the bigger person. When someone's done something really heinous to me or my loved ones, I have turned the other cheek. That is how my mother raised me, and it is a good practice and it serves you well. And I do think everyone, and I'm not exaggerating, there's no bullshit here, I think everyone should turn the other cheek. You got to turn it. Now, you also need to be very careful of who you give your cheeks to, because you don't want to have to turn the other cheek so often, because if you have to, that means you might be, let's say you're in an actual abusive relationship and you turn the other cheek like 20 times because you're the person that you're with, they like gaslight you or something, and you're always forced to give them the benefit of the doubt, turn the other cheek, let it go, sweep it under the rug or whatever. You're the person that just accepts the stuff. That's not a good relationship, and I don't call that turning the other cheek. I call that you're just kind of you're staying in an abusive relationship. It's like you're making a choice to be with these people that are wishing you ill. And that's where I am now with my mom. I'm not speaking to her, so to speak. I mean, I'm texting her and I'm talking to her on the phone. So, I mean, she's not blocked or anything like that, but my mother is just not a healthy addition to my life. And instead of moving through life not saying it, I'm moving through life. And when people are sort of pressing me, like she was really pressing me to meet, and I'm like, okay, well, you can come over to the clubhouse where I live. And I was fully anticipating her coming today because yesterday it was like a big snowstorm, and so she didn't come, but the forecast was like 40 and above, and it was like 40 and above, and everything melted today. So she was supposed to meet me here. I'm recording this in the clubhouse right now. She was supposed to meet me here. And she's like, oh, first it was like 2:00. And I said, hey, just checking in. It's 2:00. And I said, my words, I'm like, hey, I'm totally free. Today is Martin Luther King's birthday. I'm not working. So you can come to the clubhouse. And she's like, okay, cool. Sounds good. That was yesterday. So today I text her first at 2 something. And I'm like, hey, just checking in. Yeah, when are you off next? Right there. Right there. You knew that you were supposed to come here. Those were the plans. The plans were made. You were supposed to come. Why didn't you text me and say, hey, I don't think I'm going to make it today? Or why wasn't your response when I text you? Why wasn't your response? Shoot, I forgot. I had something else to do. Or, oh man, the day almost got away from me. Hey, I don't think I'll be able to come. It's kind of late. But she put it on the weather. And there's no whatever. She's like during the weather. Then there's some excuses because my mother is definitely 100% a narcissist. She's a narcissist. First, let me go back. I cannot diagnose anyone with anything. I can throw around the term narcissist like everybody does. I can do that. But I believe that my mother does have what is different, a narcissistic personality disorder. I do have to look at the DSM-9 categories or things again, but my mother may brush up against 5 of the 9 because that's what you have to do to actually qualify as an actual person with narcissistic personality disorder, not a narcissist. We all are narcissists. That means we're self-interested or whatever. But narcissistic personality disorder goes a little bit deeper, and it talks a little bit more about like the motivations of people and how they, not really the motivations, but the fact that a person, something that jumps out to me is they tend to idolize others, and they may tend to say, hey, this person, they have a proven track record of this, and they're touting others' accomplishments as their own or something. But it's very specific narcissistic personality disorder. So instead of my mom saying, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, instead of her ever humbling herself through this thing, she instead tried to put it on the weather, or, well, when do you get off again next? Let me know when you're free again, and let me know. I'm like, I'm not letting you know anything. I let you know yesterday that, one, we were supposed to get together yesterday, but we didn't because of the snow. And I said, okay, well, how about tomorrow? And I had to reach out to you. So you weren't even you were going to let the whole day go by. And it just was going to, but I get it now. I usually let that go. I usually just say, well, hey, you didn't reach out, and hey, or hey, sorry, I guess we missed each other yesterday. No, we didn't miss each other. We made plans, you flaked on them, and I just used to, in the past, I used to not say anything about it. But now, I'm saying things about things, and I'm like, if you don't want to meet today, that's cool. I'm not going to be able to meet. I don't know, because I do have some stuff coming up soon, and right now with my daughter, I drop everything for her. If she would like to just get ice cream and I'm like 3 counties away, I'm like, I'll be there in 48 minutes. And yes, and I'm going to scoop you up and we're going to go grab ice cream because we don't have a visitation agreement and our mother's making a lot of power plays to not let her come and see me. So it's a total shit show and my daughter's caught in the middle. So I'm just trying to make myself available when I can. And it's absolutely horrible. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry. So, sorry, had a couple brain farts and thinking about other things. As soon as I bring up my daughter, I just think about all the bullshit she's dealing with right now and being caught in the middle, and I hate it for her. Anyway, so this was supposed to be about friends, and I have this friend. One, he's not a friend at all because he knows about my wife's affair, and he knows how it happened, how it went down. He also knows how bad it's been. And I remember one red flag because I'm super calibrated now to red flags, and I hope I'm not going to slip into that horrible place when people get bitter, and they heavy-handedly sort of look for red flags and they sort of overprescribe red flags. And I'm definitely doing that with him. I'm sorry. I have hoped that I'm not doing that with him. But there was a thing that I'm like, yeah, total overt red flag. So this guy was working with a girl. And this girl's married. This guy's not my quote unquote friend. And this girl's married, and he's like, hey, there's a married girl at work. And she's like, she's really been flirting with me. And I'm wondering, like, should I go down this path? And I'm like, And he's saying this to me. It was just the two of us out of the restaurant. He's like, should I go down this path? And I'm like, nah, I don't. I mean, well, on the one hand, because I try to be fair and pragmatic and devil's advocate. If a woman wants to cheat, she's going to cheat. If a person wants to cheat, they're going to cheat. So I'm like, I mean, I guess you could go down this path, but first, like, why? Like, is there some sort of situation? Are they separated? Is she the second, third, fourth person that she's seen and she's dating, and they're just not in it together anymore? Is that this sort of situation, or are they like in the work it out, they're still living together phase? And he's like, oh yeah, they still live in the same house. I'm like, then you shouldn't do it. You should not do that. There have been no steps on her behalf. She may just be looking for some escapism, and you might just be it. And she's looking for a way to just feel better, and you don't want that. And also, you don't know anything about this guy, and you work where you work or whatever. And like, why would you want to bring any of these potential problems into your life dealing with this married woman? Why would you do it? So he's like, well, well, she tells me that, this guy's a real pussy. And I'm like, uh-oh. Well, what I'm going to tell you, you definitely shouldn't fuck with this woman. He's like, well, why? I'm just like, I was like, I know that it might look good to you and it might feel good to you and it might boost your ego a little bit because she's saying he's a pussy. So the byproduct of that is you not being a pussy. So it's kind of a low-key ego stroke for you. I get that. But this woman just talked about her husband and called him a name as she's talking to a man that she's trying to fuck at work. So this woman is really not a good, she's not really a good person from that statement as it relates to her marriage and relationships. Now, I know that's heavy-handed. I understand what I just said. This woman that called her husband a pussy to another guy, I just said it makes her a bad person. Remember, in that other recording, never mind. So I think that was another podcast. I don't want to give that away. You don't even know who I am. But, okay, she can talk about her husband behind his back to coworkers that don't know him. Okay, that's a character trait you need to take account of. That's what she does. Now, he also said that, because they did start messing around, right? And this was after he and I'm like, bro, okay. He's like, well, she's so unhappy, and I'm gonna tell you, man. He's like talking for her and shit, and he's just like, yeah, she deserves better. And I'm just like, the woman with kids that's cheating on her husband deserves better. It's like, no, she's just getting dick down from a guy at work, and you're that guy. I understand. I'm like, bro, you're getting something out of the deal. I get it, and I'm not saying that. And because I had to pull it back because I kind of went in on her and I kind of disrespected, quote unquote, her. I called her a bitch or something. I was like, this bitch is fucking, I went in like that. And I was just trying to get him to understand because, like I said, he knows my story, my wife cheating on me and a work situation, and my wife being so flagrantly in my face with her affair and her other man, because I actually met the guy and all this, and her friend that she used to help, she brought her to our house, and just all of these things. So much stuff like thrown in my face and was overt, and kids involved as well. Like had this woman meet our daughter, our youngest daughter. I'm like, what in the world? Why are you bringing such toxic people around? And I didn't know they were toxic at the time. I just thought they were people. But she was bringing around the people that were covering for her. So every time I was with these people, they knew what my wife was doing. And I'm not asking them they don't know me or owe me anything. They don't owe me any explanation. But that's the type of friends that my wife had that would help her have an affair or hide it or something like that. That was the type of people. that she brought around her. And so I'm very careful now who I bring around me. And when this guy says that they had started kind of messing around, and he's saying how they, at like 3 or 4 in the morning, after they had finished having sex, that they were up listening to the guy's voicemail. The husband was calling his wife at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning while she's with my quote unquote friend, and they're listening to his voicemail because he's like calling and he's like leaving a song on her voicemail, song that he wrote, like, baby, I love you. You remember we went to France or Fiji or something like that. And he's singing a song, and from what my quote unquote friend said, he's actually hearing him cry. He's crying while he's singing, and he's like, and I'm laughing and we're laughing at him like, what a bitch and what a pussy this guy is, blah blah blah. And I said, bro, let me stop you right there. One, you're fucking his wife. Let me say it differently. You're fucking the mother of his children. You are fucking the mother of his children. I said, is he the breadwinner? He's like, yeah, he pays all the bills. I'm like, okay. You are fucking the wife of his children, and he's providing for her. It's like his whole life is tied up in this woman. And I tried to go into, and maybe if I slow this down and break down, because obviously I'm feeling it viscerally. I'm feeling these things with such pain and agony because I know what it's like, what it feels like when you think as a man your wife is quote unquote yours. Yes, and I mean it in the possessive. It's like, hey, you are mine. You are my woman, because check this out. If a gunfight breaks out and my wife and I are together, it is my job and duty and mantle that I immediately pick up to get her to safety and possibly even put myself in between her and said bullets that ring out in a gunfight. So yes, you are mine. You're mine, just like it's my car. I don't want it to get hit. I park it in a place where it won't get messed up. I hit the alarm. I look around. I make sure my car is as protected as possible. The car can't protect itself. I have to put the car in places where I believe the car will be the most safe. I put my wife in places where I think she will be the most safe. This neighborhood, this zip code behind this alarm system. Maybe you have firearms or a dog. You get all these things to protect what's yours. So yes, are things as materially possessive as a car when you're talking about a wife? Fuck no. That's not what I mean. But I do mean that a wife belongs to a husband. And why do I use the word belong? Because one of us is strong and one of us is weak. Get the fuck out of here with any politically correct semantics you want me to actually adhere to. I'm not going to fucking do it. Understand that. I'm not going to fucking do it on the Divorce Diaries podcast, where we talk about how people fuck other people, families break apart, everybody cries, we all need therapy, our traumas run deep, and we're all fucked up souls banging into each other, happening to have babies and breaking each other's hearts all over a fucking again. So please, sorry, political rant a little bit, but if you want me to be anything close to politically correct, kiss my fucking ass. Okay. Back to the friend that I don't have. You guys are actually up laughing and joking after fucking each other about this guy who's clearly at home by himself with the kids that she abandoned to be with you. And you guys are laughing at him. Notice, I'm not even coming at the fact that they're fucking or anything like that. It's like, you guys are doing adult things. What I'm saying is, you two shitty fucking people have such little compassion that you can laugh at her husband, who is crying his eyes out as he's trying to somehow romanticize his way back into his whore wife's life. Baby, please, I love you, I miss you, I this, I that. I've been there. And it's a tough pill to swallow when you realize you actually don't mean anything to your wife. Maybe you did at one point, maybe you didn't, but all you know is right now, you don't matter to your wife. And that's a really hard thing for a lot of us husbands that have been cheated on to accept. And it's not like, oh, well, a wife has been cheated on. Let me just put this disclaimer out. Men and women are different. Men and women cheat for different reasons. Men can cheat and totally be invested in their wife, still 100%. And the other woman, when they say she meant nothing, quote unquote, she can literally still mean nothing. I just fucked her. She means nothing to me. Now, but when women cheat, it's a full-on connection because women connect on a much, quote unquote, deeper level. So yes, when a woman cheats, has sex with another man, she really connects with him, really wants to connect with him. A man does not show his loyalty and fidelity in the same ways. He shows his loyalty and fidelity by what he thinks is his value, which is his money and time. If he's spending most or all of his money and time on one woman, woman A, but he fucked woman B, C, and D, but he's spending all, for the most part, his money and time on woman A is his woman. Those are just the other ones that he fucks. But a woman will usually only be fucking one guy. She may go from one guy to another guy, but typically a woman won't be, quote unquote, spinning plates. Oh, I've got 8 guys in it. She may be spinning plates for other things like, oh, she's got 5 guys that she talks to. One guy takes her out for dinner all the time. The other guy is the knucklehead thug that fucks her really good. The other guy is the guy that just is her shopping boo, and she goes shopping with him and those things. Whatever. You get what I'm saying. Every relationship isn't necessarily a sexual one. She might have sex maybe reluctantly with more than one of the guys, but there's one guy that she has genuine sexual burning desire for, and then there are other guys that she's getting other itches scratched, validation, you're beautiful, buying things, travel, whatever. So that's the interesting thing there. So back to the friends, knowing that I have a quote unquote friend that can laugh at a man who's crying his eyes out. And it's like, you guys didn't even feel like, neither one of you said like, turn it off. I don't need to hear that. Just that little statement right there would have let me know these two people have a heart. Just turn it off. Like, she listens to it and she's like, I'm just not going to listen to this. Turns it off. But maybe my wife did that too. When she was out having her affair from 8 p.m., left the whole family, didn't come back until 6:30 in the morning. And me leaving all my messages, hey, where are you? And I'm crying. I did the same thing. I'm crying over the phone, reaching out, asking, pinging on the iPhone, location services, ping, play sound. Guess she eventually got tired of that shit and turned the phone off. But the whole time you guys are together and I'm pinging your phone and I'm probably messing up your evening because you guys, maybe you're at a restaurant and I'm pinging the phone and you guys are in the hotel room and trying to get it on and I'm pinging the phone. And it's like, even this, like, I've never been able to speak this way. Had I not started recording the Divorce Diaries podcast, I would not be able to speak this way. Like, I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to think about it. My wife being with another man and I didn't even know what this guy looks. So I have these scenes playing out in my head and I'm just totally a fucking mess. I'm an absolute fucking wreck with all these things that are happening with my wife. And I'm just like, wow, this is what it is. And I'm sitting across from a guy who knows all of these things that have happened with me and my wife. And he's just like, he's so not in the moment. He's learning that he just doesn't care about anyone. He's just sitting there looking across from me, not looking at like, hey, this is my friend Justin who got cheated on. And man, maybe me saying this is probably affecting him somehow, but it's not about me. Even though I just said all those things about me, I'm saying it's not about me. I'm just saying, wow, those are the things that I would be thinking about, which is usually why we need to take ourselves out of it. And we're just, oh yeah, this is how I would be a friend, and I would be a friend this way, and I would be a friend that way, and I expect a friend to be that way to me because I would be this to this person. But that's not how it works. Same with every relationship. Yes, I'm a certain type of husband. I'll support you through thick and thin, and I'll put up with you. The proof is in the pudding from my current marriage. My wife was able to be financially 100% irresponsible. I'm asked that, pay it down. I'm asked that, pay it down. I'm asked that, pay it down, because her mortgage was covered, her insurances were covered, and all of the stuff that actually keeps food, clothing, and shelter over your head, they were all covered. So she was able to spend more frivolously, but now she can't, because there are no more protections and provisions, because she's no longer mine. But she still wants me to protect, provide, and provision for her, which is why she's being the way that she's being during this divorce, I believe. So it's just a very interesting, horrible, rough, tough situation. And knowing that I had a quote unquote friend in this guy that is so callous, it's definitely a testament to that phrase of hire slow, fire fast. And I won't be reaching out to him again for dinners or anything like that. I will accept one if some time has gone by, because to be honest, I don't really like slamming doors on people per se. I don't want them shut, because I feel that just from a compassion standpoint and a fairness standpoint and a humanity standpoint, if we always threw the baby out with the bathwater or ended a friendship after the first infraction, there would be no, we would have to take the word, retribution or reconstitution or something like that, and we would just have to abandon those words. It's like, no, you'll never be able to reconstitute a relationship. I have a horrible relationship with my mom, but I haven't blocked her, because maybe one day she might reach out and she might say something that seems like she may have changed. Okay, and then I'll just baby step with that, and I'll talk to her a little more, and it does seem like she's maybe changed. Okay, I don't necessarily expose myself to her or give her any information about my life or anything like that, but over time we might be able to build something. And the reason I'm not going to slam the door on my mother is because she's my mom. And the reason I'm not going to slam the door on this quote unquote friend is because, well, what if he does come to his senses? And what if he does say, you know what? I was a real dick, man. I didn't realize it. I didn't realize that I was an asshole. I didn't realize how much of a taker I was. I didn't realize that. And, I want to apologize to you, because I feel like I kind of came off like, a certain way. And I'm like, wow, dude, yeah, we all grow, because I've done it. Gone on my therapeutic journey or whatever, which is funny with this whole growth thing, because for the most part, people don't really realize that change is possible. Because let's be fair, you probably can't change, but which is probably why you don't trust the fact that I may have changed. And I'm like, man, I have so many. I have made. Let me see. Well, have I made all my apologies? No. And I can say that comfortably, because one, my family unfortunately did find out about this podcast, because I don't know, I think my wife just kind of came down. She saw the logo when I was working in the basement. I guess seeing it enough, she was able to see the words, so she was able to search it up, and she saw, and she's like, oh my God, her response to the podcast being recorded. And when she heard it, because none of those episodes are public anymore, they're all down, and because it was just some angry ranting me. I was in a whole different place in headspace where I was just publishing and putting out like, I'm so angry. I don't know, it probably came off like, women are horrible, they ain't shit, like these fucking whores, all of them, wives, men don't ever get married, they're so despicable, I hate marriage and relationships. I don't know, it was just fucking toxic. It was just a hurt man bitching into a microphone. That's all it was. And now I'm not like that. I'm just I've been able to, through my therapeutic journey, to process what happened, why did it happen, how much blame should I take, how long should I keep blaming myself, should I do anything to process certain things differently than processing other things? Am I really healthy? Am I not healthy? Am I the cause, the sole cause? What parts could I have controlled? What parts couldn't I have controlled? I just never unpacked anything. I just always just dealt with it. I don't even know. Because what is it? Ready, aim, fire. I was never that. I was always fire, aim. Never get ready. Or I was like ready. And I never aimed or fired. But I always did that wrong. So it's cool having gone through therapy and continuing to go through therapy and really get it figured out and get it dialed in. And it's hard when people look at you and they're like, no, you didn't change. How could you change? That would have been, you would not have changed because you've always been this way. So therefore you will always be this way. And I'm like, yeah, that's one way to look at it. But the fact that I didn't just fucking cuss you out right now and tell you you're a stupid motherfucker for thinking I can never change, because I did change, bitch, that actually would be exactly what the old me would do. The old me would get defensive, feel that they need to prove something, and possibly spike the ball. Basically, like I just said, I just cursed you out. I talked to you about how I changed, but that doesn't actually display change. What displays change is every time my family now, anyone in my family, they disrespect me, they say something that's hurtful, harmful, I would either accept it, which would not have been change for me, or I would become defensive and launch back at them. But now I just say, man, I do understand that if you'd like to hear my side of that experience, I definitely want to share it with you, but I see where you're coming from, and, I appreciate that. And if I have to say, and I'm sorry that I made you feel that way, and one day I would like to talk to you about my perspective on that. So I love you. I'm sorry. Have a great day. That is literally nothing that I would have ever done in the past. When you were wrong, I would just defend myself. Or you were wrong, I would just point out the fact that you were wrong. Done. That's what I would do. It was very combative, the way that I would meet the world. And like I said, I got a little bit, not combative immediately with my quote-unquote friend. But I'm just like, bro, what the fuck, man? You're fucking his wife. And they worked at some law firm or something like that. I don't know where the fuck they worked. But they worked at a place where there were a few people and there was a website. And the website has the employees there. And I said, bro, because he started talking about, he's like, yeah, and I think the guy knows what I look like. And I'm like, uh-oh, are you serious? He's like, yeah, I think he knows what I look like. Why do you say that? He's like, well, my picture's on the website. Fuck, your picture's on the website? I'm like, well, how many guys are like around your age? And he's like, no, it's just one of two guys, and the other guy's like 400 pounds. So he definitely knows what I look like, because we're the only two guys that look like we're about this age. And she's told him how I'm built. And I'm like, fuck, really? And he's like, yep. And I'm like, bro, so on the website, next to your picture, does it have your name? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, bro, I just pull out my phone. I go to Google, type in his name, hit search. Very first result. It's him, and he leans over while we're at the restaurant. He leans over and he's like, what the fuck? Wow, I don't even know my house number. That's the first thing he says. I don't even know my house number. So I'm like, his house phone number. So he looks at this thing, and he's like, it doesn't hit him because I have to say it. I have to say, bro, I just typed your name in, no middle initial, and the city that you live in, and your whole fucking shit came up in the first result. Bro, this guy, if he's motivated, he could come and fucking kill you. He could just be sitting across the street watching you come and go and fucking kill you. Why? Because you're fucking his wife, and men don't like that. And he's like, oh, well, she knows that I have guns. I'm like, what? I'm like, bro. One, that's even worse, because that means if he knows you have guns, and if he is going to make a move, he's probably going to make a move with something that matches what you have lethally. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, I mean, he could try it, I guess. He went into this like macho place. And I'm like, bro, you don't know. And I told him immediately, I was just like, nah, bro, you don't understand. My wife cheated on me. I know exactly where this guy lives. Done. So you don't know how motivated this guy might be. You don't know how patient he might be. But I'm just saying, men usually don't like when their wives are getting fucked by other men. They usually don't. And with him crying on voicemails to his wife, and you guys listened and laughed, bro, he doesn't understand how much of and this is one of the things I had to apologize for. apologize to my quote unquote friend for. I'm like, he doesn't understand that his wife's a hoe yet. He doesn't understand or has not accepted that his wife is for the streets. He doesn't understand that his wife doesn't fuck with him. He doesn't get it right now. He just thinks that his sweet girl that he married may come back to help him with the young kids, and she might remember what they have. He's scared. He's sad. He's hurt. He's even broken now, knowing that she's getting dicked down by another guy. He's like, but I have it. He's thinking, I got a dick too. Why can't she just? Why can't we just? Why can't this just work itself out? He hasn't accepted yet that he should just straight up drop his wife on her neck. And I mean that proverbially, not literally. He's just, oh, you want to go and fuck with other guys? Please do. Exit stage left. Do not come back. I don't ever want to see, know, or talk to you again. See, that's where I am with mine. But this guy's not there. And just the vacant look on my friend's face. It's just like, I mean, man, I guess if he gets his shit together, then, maybe she might like him again. And I'm like, damn. And he's not wrong. If he would get his shit together and become a man that was that had some self-esteem, his wife probably wouldn't have cheated on him in the first place. But we men aren't typically raised in that way. We men are typically like, put her on a pedestal, lay your jacket down over the puddle, protect her, provide for her, happy wife, happy life. Nothing in the lexicon for men is designed to say, put yourself first. I know that there is a feeling and sentiment that men are selfish and we tend to put ourselves first and we're controlling, but women bring 70-80% of divorces. I see men get yelled at a lot. I gotta check the honey-do list. Let me check with my better half. Men are typically detesticled and we ask for permission to do everything. It's just like, because it's a very feminine society that we live in, so we're sort of like, we gotta ask mom. And who's mom? Mom is your wife now. You used to go to mom, can I go out and play? Or whatever. And yeah, you get older and things change a little bit, but then, hey, honey, I was thinking of getting into this poker tournament. Or you can't. We got to do stuff with the kids. Or you can't. Such and such is coming over. You can't. So you got to get permission, because it's like, oh yeah, she runs our life. And it's just like, that shouldn't be the case. You should run your own life. She can run hers, or you guys can run a life maybe together, but there does have to be one captain on the ship. One captain. And how do you feel having to ask your wife for things? She doesn't ask you for things. We all know the rule. His money is our money. Her money is her money. So there is an imbalance of power. Not physically, but we aren't fisticuffing fighting each other all the time as husbands and wives in long-term relationships. We're not fighting. There is a healthy respect for the physical differences. The men usually, and when I say usually, in probably 90% of relationships, they're usually not pushing and throwing and hitting their woman. They are arguing with her, maybe even yelling back. And maybe there is a little bit of physical stuff, but it's definitely not like, yeah, we're going 12 rounds, physical warfare. Because if that was the case, as strong as men are, men would really, really not do great things to women. Really. It's just how it would go. So the thing is, picking your friends is a very big deal. You got to do it right. And it's absolutely nuts that they were laughing. And that's how I know this guy isn't my friend. At least not now. He's a guy that I associate with, that I will probably continue to associate with. But the fact that now that I know, he doesn't care that he's hurting other people. You can't be a friend of mine if you don't care that you're hurting another human. And notice, I didn't say anything about their fucking marriage. He could be an absolute shit husband. But she's going home to him every night, choosing to go on vacations with him, been married to him for I don't know how many years, and now she's deciding to have sex with a guy at work. I don't need to know why she's doing it. The fact is, she is doing it and laughing about what she's doing. I would love to hear the story and the sentiment from most cheaters. Just like, man, I hate that I'm doing this. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. I mean, I want to. I like this woman. I like this man. This person adds things to my life that I didn't know that I was missing. And, you know, if I could find a way to do this and not hurt my spouse, I do it because I feel like I need this in my life for these reasons and those reasons. But usually that's not how affairs happen. It's the man wants to fuck that woman. She's willing to fuck him. Or that woman is getting something from that man that she feels she's lacking in other areas. That's usually what it is. I've got this itch and this person's willing to scratch. So there's how they happen. But if you don't want to say that and you just want to say like, fuck it, I don't care. I do not care how I'm hurting other people and I want to laugh at them. And that was just me and him one-on-one. And that's what's scary, because I'm like, well, maybe he was just like laughing with her because they're in the bed and she's a piece of shit, maybe. And they're just, yeah, you're right, man. What a bitch. He's sad. But now that you're sitting across from me, are you trying to put up any macho thing for me? Well, let me just remind you, I was cheated on, remember? And it tore my heart out, remember? And I have kids like him, remember? Remember I was telling you that and I was sitting across the table from you crying? Remember? Oh, is that how you... I'm thinking to myself, that must be how you looked at me. Huh. That's how you looked at me. The bitch, weak, pussy. Man, maybe I was. Because I'm looking at you, bro. Yeah. You're fucking married women. You're getting pussy. You're getting pussy from married women, and the husbands of those married women aren't getting pussy from them. That's the fucked up part. Because usually, like my wife, I mean, she stopped having sex with me, but she was fucking somebody. It's like, wow, she just replaced me, but she still took my money. She still took my car. She still took my time. She still took my validation. She still took me when I would take her out to eat dinners and stuff like that, the family and all that. It's like, wow. So you're going to take my protection, providing, and provisioning, but you don't want to be intimate with me because I've been replaced. You haven't been replaced. I never replaced you. I had my indiscretion, but I never replaced you. I never stopped doing anything. Remember, my wife was so shocked because I came to her and I said, like, I have something to tell you. I rekindled things, or I reached back out to the girlfriend that I had when we were broken up before we got married. And, things went too far. I mean, I broke it off, but I just wanted to tell you, yeah, I was that guy. That idiot, I guess they say, that thinks that honesty is the best policy. I should have just not said anything. That's what a lot of people had said. You don't say anything. I'm like, no. I believed the hype, and I still sort of like ascribe to it and sign up to that. I don't think it's good to lie. I didn't feel good lying. I wanted to do the opposite, and I wanted to tell my wife the truth. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to lie anymore. I didn't want to lie, and I didn't want to hurt her. Didn't want to lie. I didn't want to hurt her. And I hurt her. And I lied. So I can't unhurt her, but I can stop continuing to hurt her by lying. And the only way to do that was to do the very difficult thing by telling her the truth. And yes, looking back, do I feel good? No. Do I feel better? Yeah, I guess. I shouldn't have done that in the first place. I should have found a way to get therapy and help and counseling with us so we could solve our problem. Because if I would have done that, I could have just figured out that my wife and I weren't meant to be together and we could have gotten a divorce earlier. I could have saved myself so much time, so many years, so much headache, all this stuff. This affair happened when I was like in my early 20s. Early 20s, very early 20s. So it's like, I don't have to be middle-aged now dealing with the shit that I'm dealing with. This shit could have been dead then. Dead. But no, I wanted to make it work and I wanted to fix it. And I felt immense guilt because it's just like, yo, you're a fucking liar. You lied and you cheated. Yes, there are reasons for that. Yes, my wife was not having sex with me. Yes, she lied about a bunch of financial stuff. Yes, she fucked our family over financially, royally. And when I had to move back in with my mom, a lot of shit was absolutely terrible. That still didn't give me the excuse to lie and cheat. So I had to do the opposite of lying, which was telling the truth and not cheat. And then say, I am sorry that I did that. I'm not going to do that again. I was a piece of shit. I'm sorry. Done. And that's what I did. My wife, on the other hand, she didn't do that. She never did that. And knowing that this quote-unquote friend that I had, oh yeah, he's a bitch. He's a bitch. He's crying on a voicemail. No, he's a man that's losing his family. And if you had a family to lose and you felt like you were losing it, you might do some bitchy things too. This guy's not my friend. He can't be.
Wow. That was the Divorce Diaries podcast. The Daily Saga will continue tomorrow. The full season's episodes are on Patreon now. Subscribe for early access. Click the Patreon link in the description. Hopefully, these entries help our anonymous recorder as a form of his own personal therapy. That's his hope and his intention. Will these recordings of life's curveballs lead this family to the best resolution in the end? We'll keep listening. New episodes are released daily on all podcast players, but all episodes are available on Patreon at Divorce Diaries Podcast Patreon page. Until next time.